Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for clicking on the video. Hit the like button, helps my channel out. I appreciate each and every one of you subscribers, viewers, people that are just passing through, want to see what my video is about. Today's video is going to be my best baits for the month of February. February is a pivotal month in the Pacific Northwest and just the whole nation, the whole entire country. A lot of the fish are still in late winter, but a lot of the fish are still moving. Not all fish are going to spawn and go up to the shallows all at the same time. They kind of do it in waves. Right around, the moon phases have a lot to do with the movements of the fish. As they come in waves up shallow and spawn and be up there for about 2 months, 3 months, and then they come back out, and every fish is different. Their biological clocks are all different. Some are up shallow for a month, some are up shallow for 2 months. Some of them move out shallow or move out deep and live out rest of their life out deep. They just come up shallow once a year to spawn. Or you have these fish that are just up shallow year round. I'm technically a shallow water fisherman. I prefer to fish the shallow water. So that's where I pretty much start my hunting at, is normally in February. I have a birthday towards the end of this February month, which I normally start my season off, kick it off at that time. This year it's going to be on a Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, let's get back to the month of February. It is a total movement month. The days start to be longer. The water starts to warm. Normally, it's about 5 o'clock, just after 5 o'clock, about the 1st of February for the light time for the sunset. 1st of February is normally around 5 o'clock or just after 5 o'clock. It will increase about 5 minutes a day. So you take that in a week's time, normally about a 30-minute. So within a month, it can be anywhere from 2 hours extra of daylight that you're going to gain through the month of February. So it is a very pivotal month. Anytime that you have any like 3 consecutive days of sunny weather, you can definitely call that a warming trend. Even if it's 20 degrees in the morning, it's still going to warm up, and it's a warming trend. Considered to be a warming trend. 3 days or more of consecutive sun. Just stuff to look out for. Typically still cold nationwide, even though it's February. The first part of February usually is your coldest part. Up here in the Pacific Northwest, towards the end of February, I have physically seen bass moving around at a small pond. I definitely worth the look at small waters or backwaters and keep your eyes peeled. Be very slow and quiet on your trolling motor in the boat. Just period. Don't move real fast up front when you're standing up. Just be very, very keen on your surroundings and everything in the water, like any kind of swirls or movements. Maybe you spooked a fish. Usually by the end of the day, towards the end of February, I spook a lot of fish in that last week of February to the first week of March. Do keep an eye and a mental memory of where you have contacts of fish, whether it try to bite your lure or it just simply spook the fish from sunning themselves up in the shallow. A lot of times you'll come across a big female or a big fish, or even just a male fish that's just warming himself up in the sun. Just be on the lookout for that. Understand that your smallest waters are going to be the first ones to warm up as in the month of February. Move slow. Try not to move too fast. Try not to fish too fast. Change up your routine and your retrieve. Just different retrieves, just to find out maybe they want something aggressive. Maybe they don't. But you never know until you try. towards the end of the day is when the water is going to be the warmest, especially when the water is below 50 degrees, to be really on the lookout for, really key in on towards the end of the day. The last 2 hours of sunlight is going to be your warmest part of the day. Maybe even the last 2-3 hours of the day. But anyway, let's go ahead and kick into this. Best baits for February. Again, this is my best baits for February over probably a 20-year span of me figuring out and fine-tuning most of these baits. And most of all these baits I've caught fish on in the month of February. First bait is going to be a creature bait, a soft plastic creature bait. I'm normally going to rig it up on a flipping hook. I do not fish the extra wide gap hook for flipping. I use straight shank only. I have lost a few giant fish using a extra wide gap hook like this. So I use either an offset J-bend hook like this, like you see here. This is a 5/0 offset J-bend. It's offset from where you line tie. It's not like this where it's all in a line. I use the straight shank flipping hook. I have Strike King makes a pretty good hook. I do prefer the eyes to be welded shut or closed eye flipping hooks. Anywhere from 3/0 all the way up to 5/0, depending on the size of bait that you're going to use. A lot of times I will use a 3 to 4/0 flipping hook in the winter time or late February. I will peg the weight. Sometimes I will use, depending on what I'm flipping exactly. Most of the time it's going to be reeds, bulrush, or light grass. We don't necessarily have pads or pad stems this time of the year. They hadn't started growing just yet. They definitely don't pop the top of the water until about April. But this is a lead weight that's got a little screw in, so it screws in the top of the bait. It has a little insert in there so it doesn't cut your line, but sometimes it does. So a lot of times when I fish this stuff, I will fish it on 17-pound fluorocarbon, or I will fish it on 50-pound braid. You can get away with a 7-foot medium heavy to a 7'6" medium heavy. Bait cast gear is what I would opt for. But you want to try to get the lightest weight that you can possibly have. On the right hand side, that is a 1/8 of an ounce tungsten weight. On the left, that is a lead weight. That is an 1/8 of an ounce. So that is the difference between tungsten and lead. Tungsten literally has half the size of the lead weight, which is, it transmits sensitivity a whole lot better. So when you're dragging that stuff, you'll feel the difference from rocks to size of rocks to all that good stuff. Once again, this is 3/8 tungsten, and I think that's a 1/4 ounce lead weight right there. But this is a 3/8 tungsten. I like to try to go with a 5/16 to a 3/8 slip sinker. I will peg it with a bobber stop right here on a straight shank 3 to 5/0 hook. This is a XPS Bass Pro Shop tungsten weight, 5/16 in size or in weight. It is a perfect combo for a soft plastic. Now the soft plastic creature bait that I am picking out is more than likely, most of the time, is going to be subtle. So these Rage Tail Rage Menace is just a perfect little subtle bait to throw. Go ahead and pick one of these out and show you guys. For those that don't know what the Rage Menace looks like. Works as a jig trailer or just a soft plastic trailer. Looks like a little mini crawfish or a little creature bait. but it's very subtle. There's not much to it. It could be very deadly this time of the year. But one of my favorite baits for late February is the Berkley Havoc. And it is known as the Pit Boss. It has 4 appendages to make it look like a craw. I prefer black and blue. This is obviously black and red. I don't think I have any of the Pit Boss in that color, in the black and blue. But I'm telling you, if you depend on your water clarity, which one is going to be best? You know, gin clear water, I probably wouldn't go with this black and red. I'd probably go with this. More of a subtle color. It's probably going to match the hatch more, being on the bottom of the water. But these appendages, this bait will catch some absolute giants. I've caught some giants on this bait. I love this bait. They make it all the way up to a 3-inch to a 5-inch. This is the 4-inch Berkley Pit Boss. Highly recommend it. Let's go ahead and rig something up on here. Let's go ahead and show you guys how I would do this. Again, this is the soft plastic. This is the first bait. Oh, that's not going to work out. Let's go ahead and go with this. That other bait was already used up. So the bait is designed for your hook to go all the way through this top. You got to make sure it goes straight through, come out right there. So you can see, push it up. Obviously, you would be tied on to your line. I rig it up like that. Hook is almost too big for this bait. You easily get through, get with that. Bam, bam, bam. There's weedless. Lasts for at least 2-3 fish. I would have like this up here with the bobber stop on top. And I would pitch and flip this bait in and around stuff. I would dead stick it, meaning I would leave it just sitting motionless on the bottom. A lot of times when you're sitting there, I'll dead stick it for like a minute. A lot of times when you're sitting there, I'll be looking around and all of a sudden you feel that thunk or that thump or the donk. You start to see your line slowly swimming away. That makes me so happy when I get that feeling of that. So these are just a couple other Berkley Havoc baits that they have out. This is the craw fatty. Any of these baits, any soft plastic will work. I just try to do it real subtle. Sometimes I'll pinch stuff off, pinch these legs off and stuff off the sides, so it's less stuff that's going on, you know. The less stuff that you have going on, the more it is going to get bit. So that right there, that would totally get bit on this hook. Let's go ahead and rig one of these up. This is the Berkley Havoc Craw Fatty. I forget who designed it. It's all designed by pro bass guys. Let's go ahead and bam, bam, bam. Let's go ahead and not do that. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. And yeah, see, the body is slender. Okay, actually poking out. A little bit slender. The 5/0 flipping hooks, straight shank hooks, a little bit too much for this little 4-inch bait. Straight shank 4/0 flipping hook probably be the juice for this size bait, a 4-inch bait. But that's the Berkley Havoc Craw Fatty along with the Pit Boss. You can always go to the tried and true, and that's the Rage Tail Rage Craw. These baits are tried and true. I kid you not. They're wonderful. Matter of fact, one year I did get bit on these baits. I would utilize a 3/0 flipping hook on this with a 5/16 slip sinker tungsten with a bobber stop on it. Go down about a 1/4 inch, slide it down past the barb, spin it, now hook it. There you go. just like that, and you're ready to rock and roll. I would put that on a 7-foot medium heavy, 17-pound fluorocarbon, and maybe a 7-foot medium action. 7-foot medium action bait caster, a 3/0 flipping hook with this Rage craw on there with the 5/6 slip sinker, or I would go to a 1/8 of an ounce tungsten slip sinker just to see, you know, what happens. You may have to start with a certain size weight at first just to fish it and, you know, be able to eliminate that weight. I would give each weight for at least an hour to 2 hours of fishing in high productive areas, high percentage areas, and to see what happens. And maybe you have to drop down in the weight. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But you definitely will not know until you try that and do that. So that is the flipping bait. I like anywhere from 5/16 to 1/2 ounce, either tungsten or lead. Tungsten is a little bit more money, but it is a better product. So that is the first bait. The other alternative for that bait that I have is a jig. And this is for all you draggers or just flat out people that love to fish jigs in the winter time. I used to fish jigs quite a bit. I don't drag as much as I used to. But these are two of my favorite things. They're the same jig. It's a 6 cents hybrid jig. But I can do a lot of different stuff with this jig. I could hop it, I could crawl it, drag it, swim it. I could do a bunch of stuff with it. There's so many different combinations with trailers on it. So possibilities are endless. These are a couple of the trailers that I'll go through. You know, you got your Zoom Super Chunks and green pumpkin, black and blue. Here's your Rage Tail. They're like half Rage Craw type. Rage Tail chunks is what they're called. They can be really good. These are like the Do Nothing Bass Pro Shop one. I really like the color of that. Makes that jig pop really good. But this is what the Tactical Bassin recommends in the wintertime. In cold water when you're dragging the jig. And this is tried and true from pros and everything. Is a twin tail, like a Fat Albert, I think is the name of this. Yeah, Fat Albert twin tail. So I like the black. You can do a contrasting thing or you can make it all. But I would go with like a 3 to 4 inch twin tail grub like this, and I would thread it on there, and it's to act as nothing. It's to do nothing. You don't want a big bulky, big waving, moving a bunch of water type of a profile on there. But if you went with this would be very subtle, and it's probably going to be the deal for you to get bit or not to get bit. Now this is a tried and true favorite wintertime jig of mine. If any of you guys know the Buckeye Lures, it's a mop jig. It is not made out of silicone. It is made out of rubber. So it acts as living rubber inside really cold water. It makes it really stand out compared to these other ones that are made out of silicone. Silicone skirt compared to a living rubber skirt. Living rubber is going to get bigger bites and better bites in colder weather than this type of a silicone skirted jigs. So you can never go wrong with this. This is a well-made jig. Has a rattle. I've caught some giants on it. I lost a double-digit fish up in Ferndale, Washington on this bait in the month of February. Probably about 10 years ago. I wanted to cry. I might have later on. But nonetheless, it is a straight fish catcher. Anywhere you go in the nation, you can catch fish on that mop jig made by Buckeye Lures. So that's going to round out the first bait as a flip and pitching type of a bait to a jig. It's up to you. Both of those baits work for me. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 bait that I recommend fishing. And I have 2 baits for this. I have either a square bill crankbait or I have a lipless crankbait. So the choice is yours. A lot of times, still this time of the year, it's going to be very cold. So yo-yoing these type of baits or just speed trapping it, burning a trap, could be very effective. Size really doesn't matter. I usually try to stay a ½ ounce. Your Rapala lipless crankbait can move a little bit slower. Has a different sound, but these Strike King Red Eye Shads you can't go wrong with, especially around grass. Letting them tick down into the tops of the grass. This is a 3/4 ounce Strike King Red Eye Shad. This is a ½ ounce. This is a Berkeley War Pig. I like for rocks. A lot more for rock, less than wood. If I'm going to be fishing around wood, I'm not really looking for a rattle trap. I'm more or less going to be looking for a square bill. This is an Excalibur Silent. I think the name of the color is called Brownie. It's a wonderful, square bill that I would definitely fish. It dives 3 to 5 foot. A lot of times with these rattle traps, you can just chuck and wind. You could cover a pretty good amount of water. More or less, these are going to be continuing into March as the fish start to move up. You start to fish some of these flats, grass flats and stuff. You can really whack some fish on the lipless crankbait. Now, if you have wood, rock, or just open water, you can never go wrong with the thin-sided crankbait. This thing is one of my favorite baits to fish because you get some really explosive strikes on it. This is a Rapala OG Slim, designed by Ott Defoe, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. So that's the thin-sided stuff. Most of these are 6 cents here up on the top row. You can never go wrong with the red crawdad color. If you're not gonna go with, the 4 to 7 foot diver of the thin-sided crankbaits, or the 3 to 5 square bill, or even just the sinking lipless crankbait, you can go up super shallow and go with the Bandit Footloose is the name of this. Same with this one too. I have caught fish on it in super shallow water in the month of February. I fish this on a spinning rod. This weighs a 1/4 ounce. So I will fish it on 8-pound fluorocarbon or 6-pound mono on a spinning rod and reel. I do not even try to throw this on bait cast gear. But you can never go wrong. This is a Strike King 1XS, design extra shallow. It is a killer bait. The bills on these Strike King 1XSs are a little bit sensitive, I should say. If you bang it on something, you will definitely break the bill and it'll be rendered useless. But once again, I think those are these are 6 cents flat 75s, I think they are. Anyway, they're pretty cool crankbaits. They definitely get the job done. They come with premium hooks. All that stuff does. Even the Strike King Red Eye Shad straight out of the box come with premium stuff that you can catch and hook fish with fairly quick and easy. So that's gonna be the lipless crankbait and the square bill. Far as the second bait for the best baits of February. Third bait is going to be the jerkbait. Now you come over here and I got jerkbaits. I'm gonna fish a jerkbait on a 7 foot, well actually a 6'10" to a 7 foot medium action rod. I have a specific rod that I actually saved for and made it completely for the jerkbait. I fish it on 12-pound fluorocarbon, 12-pound Seagar, but this is a Shimano. It's a 6'8", medium action, and it's fast. It's probably one of the best jerkbait rods that I have. I mean, it flat out just, it loads up really nice for a jerkbait. It is one-piece rod. It is a Shimano Caius. I found this at Walmart. The reel is a 150 size reel. I feel like the reel is way better than the rod, but don't get me wrong, this thing definitely catch some freaking fish. I bought it for $96 at Walmart as a combo, and it serves me as a great jerkbait rod. I could throw the 100 or the 200 series or the 300. This is the Strike King KVD 300. And this is the Strike King KVD 200 with 2 hooks. 300 has 3 hooks. This is in the IU color. I would fish the 200 more than likely on a spinning rod and reel on 6-pound mono or 6-pound fluorocarbon. I would definitely not hesitate to throw the 300 on a spinning rod and reel with, 8-pound, even 6-pound line. I've had some hellacious days with this bait right here. That bait right there, I have had caught the most bass I caught in one day at Lake X. And it was on this jerkbait, on this rod right here. I caught 37 bass on this bait right here. I tapped into the mother lode at Lake X one year. Very memorable, and it was very special because it never happened again. But that's going to be my everyday color. My first choice is going to be the clear IU. It's just a all-around fish biter. I mean, from clear water to dingy water to not so friendly looking water color. This is gonna be my choice when it's sunny, even when it's cloudy, just because of the sparkle in it. I do not remember this is the color of it, but maybe it has something to do with sexy shad due to this little subtle line right here that's always phenomenal for that bait coloration and paint scheme. Anyway, this really pop in super gin clear water. Same with that. Don't sleep on the IU either. This is going to be suspend dots to get your bait down deeper. You can manipulate the fall rate of your bait utilizing these little lead stickers that you can cut to size. You can put multiple on them. Sometimes you can put one on the head. You can put one on the tail. You can put one right in the middle just to get a flat, straight, real subtle. Sometimes you can even get it to suspend in warmer water. Your jerk baits are going to suspend so much better in colder water. That's what they're designed for. But don't get me wrong, you can get these things to literally just kill it and stay right there, and it drives them fish crazy. But anyway, that's going to be for the jerkbait. Once again, I would utilize the monofilament or fluorocarbon for the line. Your choice of either spinning rod or a bait caster. Next bait for the best baits of February is going to be a Swimbait. Swimbait, any size. Swimbait is going to be probably your number one bait choice to get bit, in my opinion. That or jerkbait. Jerkbait, swimbait, or the next bait. But let's go ahead and talk about the swim baits. Any swim bait from, let's see, I think this is a 3/8 ounce, has an eye on it. You can easily put any kind of bait on here. I tend to, when I pull out this 4.8 inch, I tend to bite the head off so the head sits against the back of it a whole lot better, especially if it has an eye. I don't do it all the time, but I'll do it most of the time. I even drop a thing of super glue on there and super glue the head right on there. So let's go ahead and do that. Bam, bam, bam. Now you can fish this on a spinning rod. You can fish this on a bait cast gear. You can fish this in open water, flats, shallow, out deep. It's very versatile bait. It'll catch just about anything that swims. It's kind of a forgotten bait. As far as that, you can even put it up on 1/8 of an ounce and go up super shallow with one of these little, 6 cents Divine swim baits. You can go with the, 4.3. There's so many different variations of this bait. You can utilize, there's so many different head types and stuff that you can utilize and you can pick up. Hook keepers, all that stuff. This is a 3/8. I think VMC. It's got a bluegill type of a head. So I would take this and, put this up on top of this thing. Let's go ahead and do that. I go ahead and scratch it. It's already been rigged up. So it should be fairly easy to get that straight. Once again, I would utilize some super glue. And super glue that in. You will get a few more catches out of your soft plastic before it's rendered useless, before it starts swimming all stupid. But that right there would flat out catch some fish. They've already knocked the eye off of it. But yes, so the possibilities are endless as far as these little swim baits. You can use a big head on a little bait to get it down deep, or you can use a real small head on a big bait to even use it up shallow and fish it just a little bit slower. You can utilize the weedless ones like this Citizens. It got is a very, very sweet swim bait. One of my first swim baits was actually those bluegill swim baits made by I can't remember the name of it. Storm. The bluegill swim baits you find at Walmart. Those were really the first swim baits I fished in back in Texas days. But anyway, this is the Kytex 7.8, and I fished this in a owner flashy swimmer hook that's modified. I take that wire out and I put some hyperwire split rings on there and a little piece from a spinnerbait, so it turns and it doesn't. You always end up losing the wire when you fish this. I upsized the keeper, the little pin screw lock, whatever it's called, twist lock, something like that. But yeah, you want to twist that on, make sure it's centered up on there. I do it until it's all the way to the back of the hook, basically like it is right there. And I measure it out. This hook is beefed up. This is well used. But right there, see that? All right. That thing right there, I'm going to fish that up shallow. I'll fish it out deep, slow. I fish this is going to be at least 1.5 ounces in weight. So you got to fish it on a flipping rod, whether it's a 7.6 heavy action rod rated up to 2 ounces, or it's like a 7'10" medium heavy that's rated up to like 2 ounces. Yeah, it's just really your choice. Just make sure that your rod can handle this type of a swim bait. This is getting up there. This is actually like an 8-inch soft plastic swim bait. There's one of my swim baits that I kind of got into recently before I actually got into the other world of swim baits with the mag drafts and swerves and glide baits and just all that crazy high dollar swim bait life. You can never go wrong with the mag draft, whether it's 6, 8, or 10 inch. I prefer the 8 and 10 inch. Once again, you can utilize these Storm 360 GT hooks. I like the size of the shank. and the fact that it has a screw lock on it. They're well-made jig heads. I actually found these on clearance. Let's go ahead and take one out. They're rated for a 5.5-inch bait. I know this is a 7.8. I wish I had a 6.8 out, but let's go ahead and rig this up on here. Let's go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Yeah. Scratch it. All right. And push it up to it. And you're going to want to twist. And then you're going to want to wrap that swim bait around it. You're going to have to assist it. Don't just push and expect for it to catch on to it. You will rip the swim bait. It takes a minute to put this on there. But I tell you what, it will be next to impossible. They will have to chew this thing off of it. Once again, this bait is very big, but they do 90% of the time. Like if I was to really fish this, I would probably chop this first 1/2 inch off so it fits flush, more flush to the back of the head. This is really technically a really small hook for this big of a bait, but you could still get it done. A lot of times when the bass is going to hit a swim bait, they're going to hit the head first. So that's just something to keep in mind. But that's the 7.8 Kitech open water hook, I guess you would call it. I prefer the closed hook one so you can fish it just about in the thickest cover. I have more success with that. That's just my preference. It may not work for you. But any one of these swim baits you can look at. You can get, I keep it real simple with the soft swim baits. I try not to go too crazy with them. But I have a lot of different sizes and stuff. It really helps you out when times are, when you got to try different things. You got to try new things out. So that's the number 4 bait. That's going to be swim baits. Anywhere from, 1 inch, 2 inch, all the way up to 8 to 10 to 12 inch soft plastic swim baits. It'll get big bass bites. I fish my swim baits on a 13 fishing Defy Black swim bait rod. It is an 8-foot rod. It's extra heavy. It's rated for 8 to 14 ounces. 20 to 40 pound line. I have 30 pound fluorocarbon on there right now. But that's what I fished the 10 inch bait on. It is chewed up a little bit. I can't wait to catch a double digit on that. I will fish the 8 inch on that as well. The 8 inch mag draft. But most of the time it's going to be like a 7'10" heavy action rod for that Kitech. It's weedless. I'll fish on an 80 pound braid. So that's swim baits. Now last bait choice for the month of February is going to be an umbrella rig. And that's going to be right here. Awesome. So Alabama rig, umbrella rig, whatever you want to call it. This one's been through the weather a little bit. It is a 3-wire bait. You have to definitely check your local state regulations on how many hooks you're allowed to have. In the state of Washington, we're allowed to have 3 hooks. So I run 3 hooks on this one. There are ways you could run, baits on a 5-wire frame. You can easily run like a few dummies. You just got to be careful on how you bend the hooks, bend the heads, a lot of times tactical bassin tells you to come out about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch away from the head and make your bend. That way it doesn't put so much stress on where it comes out, where your line tie, where that piece of lead is for the head. Just a quick little tip. But this is a tactical bassin flex rig made by Hog Farmer. It is a very nice bait. It flat out gets bit. Now I have a actual flex rig from Tactical Bassin, Hog Farmer, with a broken arm. Now here's a little idea for you guys, is that when you break an arm off it, because you will break an arm on it, if you catch enough fish with this, you will break an arm. This was a 6-wire arm, has a 3 dummies, and it had three hooks. So it's been broke. I've had it for 2 years. I've caught some really nice fish with it. I caught one just shy of 6 pounds on it at Lake X. I do run just a little bit smaller ones up on top. Sometimes I run with a chartreuse head on it, on the back middle one, and that's usually the one that they're always going to hit with it. You got to play around with the different size baits and the types of actions on the baits, on the swim baits. Like, you don't want something that's, you don't really want something like a Kitech, just big, wide, wagging tail like this. You don't want, a bunch of these on there. When the water gets warmer, don't get me wrong, you want that. But these, you want something a little bit more of a profile. Like a subtle profile, not a big tail wag and big wide tail wag. So a lot of times, a lot of the pros in the colder water and weather earlier in the year, and this is one of the real premier baits to get, was a Reaction Innovations Skinny Dipper. And folks used to put these on their A-rigs or umbrella rigs, and this would be like just a staple for years. They used I would use like 3 or 4 of these for the real ones, for the ones that have hooks, and I would use a smaller sized Skinny Dipper for the dummies that have no hooks. Once again, you can go with Big Bite Baits. They have fairly cheap, inexpensive, subtle swim baits. I've had these ones for a few years, but you can definitely see that these don't have such a wide tail wag as these Bass Pro Shop ones. And that's just something for you to look out for, and look to maybe it'll be the key of you getting bit and you not getting bit. Who knows? You never know till you try. But I try to buy like a 4.25 and a 3.5. I will put 3.5 as the dummies, and I would put the 4.5 as the main ones. You just got to kind of play with stuff a little bit. But definitely Hog Farmer and Tactical Bassin did a great job coming up with these A-rigs. I got 2 of them. One of them's kind of broke and damaged. I still throw it and use it. I have yet to catch 2 really nice fish on one of those A-rigs yet, but I've caught fish all the way just shy of 6 pounds on them. Caught a lot of 4-pound fish on that bait. A lot of strong 4-pound fish. A lot of times I'll throw those umbrella rigs on 20-pound fluorocarbon on a 7'6" medium heavy rod. Basically, my spinnerbait rod is what I'm going to utilize for that. I'm going to use a Johnny Morris Signature Series size 20 reel. It's going to be spooled with 20-pound fluorocarbon on this Mach Series rod. It's a superior rod. I love it. I love all the Lew's Mach Series. Anything that has Lew's on it is golden. Very, very quality gear made. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble on. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out. Hopefully some of you guys will catch a giant fish, a fish of a lifetime. good luck out there hunting. I'm still tearing up my boat. I just recently taken all the tackle out of my boat. So I'm in the midst of making a few alterations to my boat. And I'll be back at it here towards the end of this month. Do me a favor and hit the like button. Helps my channel out. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you viewers. I appreciate every one of you guys. I probably couldn't be doing this type of stuff without the feedback from you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you that comment. Hit the like button. I appreciate each and every one of you. Once again, thank you for watching. Swimbait 79 out.